If you are a woman in your 80s, or getting close to it, this video is for you. Not because you need fixing, and not because something is wrong with you, but because you deserve to know the truth, the full truth, the kind that is honest, sometimes hard, and very rarely spoken out loud. You see, turning 80 years old is not just another birthday. It is a shift, a biological shift, a social shift, an emotional one too. And if you have felt like things are changing faster than you expected, physically, mentally, even socially, you are not imagining it. You're not being dramatic. You're simply noticing what so many women before you have gone through, often in silence. But silence does not serve us. So today, we are breaking it. In this video, I am going to walk you through 7 things that happen when a woman crosses the age of 80. These are not myths. These are not guesses. They are real, research-backed, emotionally lived truths. Some are physical, some are invisible, some are painful. All of them matter, and most importantly, all of them are manageable. When you have the knowledge and the tools to respond with strength and with grace. Truth 1. Your immune system does not shout anymore, it whispers. When we are younger, our bodies fight back hard. Colds come and go. A cut heals without a second thought. Our immune system is loud, fast, and strong. But after the age of 80, something subtle begins to happen. Your immune system stops shouting. It starts whispering. And if you do not know how to listen, you can miss the signs that something serious is going on. There is a medical term for this process. It is called immunosenescence. That is a long word for a simple truth. Your immune defenses are slowing down. Both parts of your immune system, the first line of defense, and the memory part that recognizes specific threats, begin to lose power. It is like a security team with fewer guards on duty, slower response times, and older tools. In practical terms, that means a simple infection, something that would have been minor at age 40 or even 60, can turn serious at 80. Pneumonia, a urinary tract infection, or even food poisoning can become dangerous in a matter of hours, not days. And to make things more difficult, the signs of infection are not always clear in older women. You might not get a fever. You might not feel sharp pain. Instead, you might feel unusually tired. You may feel confused or off balance. You might feel a little more sleepy than usual. That is your immune system trying to warn you, not with alarms, but with whispers. Too many women miss those whispers. They push through the fatigue. They wait another day to see a doctor. And I cannot tell you how many times I have heard the words, "I thought I was just tired." But tired is often the beginning of something more. So what can you do? First, do not ignore your body's signals, especially sudden fatigue, confusion, or weakness. Those are not just signs of getting older. They may be your body's way of saying, "Help me." Second, support your immune system every day. Get your recommended vaccines. That includes the annual flu shot, the shingles vaccine, and the pneumonia shot. These are not just for your protection. They are tools to stay independent longer. Third, eat to protect your immune function. Your body needs protein, zinc, and vitamin C to fight infection. And do not underestimate your gut. A large portion of your immune cells live in your digestive system. Keep it healthy with fiber, fermented foods, and hydration. You may not be able to stop your immune system from aging. But you can give it every advantage, because when your body stops shouting, you need to become the one who listens. Truth 2. Your strength tries to slip away when you are not looking. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed that getting out of a chair feels harder than it used to? That grocery bags feel heavier? That your legs feel less steady on stairs? That is not just getting older. That is muscle loss. And after 80, it speeds up, fast. There is a name for this condition: sarcopenia. It refers to the loss of muscle mass and strength that comes with age. It begins quietly. As early as age 30, we start losing muscle, about 3 to 5% every decade. But here's the catch. After the age of 80, that muscle loss is no longer slow. It accelerates, and unless you are actively working against it, you could lose up to 50% of your total muscle mass. That is not just about not being able to open jars or carry laundry. It is about balance. It is about stability. It is about independence. Because here is what happens. When you lose muscle, you become less steady. A small trip becomes a serious fall. A hip fracture can change your entire life. I have seen strong, vibrant women lose mobility, then confidence, then their independence, all because of a single fall. And here is the cruel part. When you fall and end up in a hospital, you are put on bed rest. That bed rest causes more muscle loss. You're sent to rehab, which is often too short or not intense enough. By the time you get home, you're weaker than when you left. That is how the downward spiral begins. But let me be clear. Muscle loss is not inevitable, and you do not need a gym or heavy weights to fight back. What you do need is consistency and commitment. Start small. Chair squats, light resistance bands, even lifting soup cans while watching television. The goal is not to build big muscles. It is to signal your body that you still need strength, and your body will respond. Eat more protein than you think. Most older women are not getting enough. Aim for at least 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight each day. That means if you weigh 120 pounds, you need about 50 to 60 grams of protein daily. Also, check your vitamin D. It plays a huge role in muscle and bone health, especially if you are not getting much sun. Ask your doctor about supplementation. You do not have to become a bodybuilder. You just have to move. You have to eat like your muscles matter, because they do. Your strength is not gone. It is waiting for you to reclaim it. Truth 3. You might start to feel invisible, but you still deserve to be seen. This one may be the hardest to talk about, because it does not start with pain in your back or weakness in your legs. It starts with something harder to measure: silence, dismissal, being overlooked, being treated like you are no longer the main character in your own life. It often begins at the doctor's office. You sit in the room, and the nurse turns to your daughter or your son instead of speaking to you. The doctor uses phrases like, "at your age," to explain why they are skipping a test or avoiding a treatment. You share a concern, and they say, "well, that is just part of being 80. That is not care. That is ageism." It is when medical decisions are made based on assumptions, not evidence. And I am here to tell you, you still deserve full, respectful, complete care. Just like anyone younger than you. I have seen it too many times. A woman in her 80s is not offered surgery because her doctor assumes she would not want it. She is given fewer treatment options because someone thinks she is too old to recover. That is not medicine. That is prejudice. But you have power, and you have every right to use it. Here are some things you can say when you feel overlooked. What would you do if I were 60? What are all my options? Aggressive and conservative? How many women my age have you treated for this? Please speak directly to me. I want to be part of this conversation. And if you do not feel heard, change doctors. Seriously. A good provider listens to your goals, your values, and your voice. You are not just your blood pressure or your age. You are a whole person with decades of life experience. You're not a number in a chart. You're a human being with dignity. It is easy to shrink back when the world stops seeing you. But I want to remind you, you still matter. Your questions matter. Your concerns matter. You're not invisible. You're vibrant, valuable, and worthy of excellent care. And it starts with being your own advocate. Because if you do not speak up for yourself, some people may assume you have nothing to say. Let them hear you, loud and clear. Truth 4. Your brain can stay sharp if you refuse to let it sleep. There is a myth that has been passed down quietly, and sadly, many women believe it, that once you turn 80 years old, your mind simply begins to fade. That forgetfulness is just part of the deal. That confusion is inevitable. That sharpness belongs to the young. That is simply not true. Yes, your brain does change with age. That is a fact. Your processing speed, the pace at which you take in and respond to new information, may slow down. It might take a little longer to recall a word or a memory. You might find multitasking more tiring than it used to be. But here's the truth. Your intelligence does not disappear, and memory loss is not guaranteed. What actually happens inside the brain after 80 is more nuanced. Some areas, like the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus, which are involved in decision-making and memory, can shrink a little. Blood flow may decrease. Some connections between neurons can become less efficient. But here is what makes the difference: how you use your brain. There is a powerful concept called cognitive reserve. Think of it like a savings account of brain power. When one part of the brain becomes slower, another part can step in and compensate. But only if you have built that reserve over time through learning, social connection, and mental engagement. Sadly, many women stop using their minds actively after 80. They fall into routines. They stop learning new things. They spend more time alone, watching passive content like television, and less time engaging in stimulating conversations. And slowly, quietly, their mind begins to withdraw. Not because it has to, but because it was left unstimulated. But here is the hope. You can still build and protect your brain at any age. Start by staying socially connected. Isolation doubles the risk of cognitive decline. Laughing, talking, even debating with others keeps multiple parts of your brain active. That includes memory, emotional processing, and verbal recall. Add something new to your life. Learn to play an instrument. Try a new hobby. Write your memoirs. Take an online class. Your brain loves novelty. It thrives on being challenged. Move your body. Physical exercise increases blood flow to the brain and actually grows new brain cells. Something as simple as a daily walk can protect your memory. Eat for brain health. Omega-3 fatty acids from fish or flaxseed, B vitamins, and staying hydrated all support cognitive function. And if you notice your memory slipping, do not panic. First, ask, am I engaging my brain every day? Am I lonely? Am I sleeping well? Am I drinking enough water? Because the brain does not retire at 80. It simply waits for your signal to stay awake. You're not too old to be sharp. You're not too old to learn. And you are certainly not too old to grow. Your brain is not fading. It may just need to be reawakened. Truth 5. The world will shrink unless you stretch it open. This is one of the most emotional parts of aging, and it is one I have watched happen to so many women, slowly and silently. After the age of 80, something changes, not just in your body, but in the world around you. Life begins to shrink, and often it does not feel like a dramatic shift. It starts with small things. You stop driving at night. Then you stop driving altogether. A friend moves away. Another passes on. The group you used to meet every Tuesday disbands because too many members are ill or no longer mobile. Your children get busier. Your grandchildren move farther away. The phone rings less. The front door opens less. And before you realize it, your entire world becomes your living room, your kitchen, your hallway. And while that might feel quiet, it can quickly become lonely. And here is what many people do not realize, that loneliness can turn into depression. And in older adults, depression often looks like memory loss, like fatigue, like disinterest in life. It can even mimic dementia. I have seen women misdiagnosed with Alzheimer's when, in reality, they were emotionally starved, not mentally broken. We are not meant to live small lives. Human beings are wired for stimulation, for connection, for purpose. That does not change when you turn 80. In fact, the need for meaningful contact may be even greater. So, if your world has begun to close in, I want to encourage you, gently but firmly, fight back. Stretch your world open again, even if just a little. Say yes to an invitation, even if you feel shy. Join a group, even if you do not know anyone yet. Volunteer, even if it is just once a week. Read to children at the library. Start a Zoom call with friends. Try a new hobby. Take a short day trip to a new place, even if it is only a town away. FaceTime your grandkids. Start a group text with your friends. Ask someone to teach you how to use a new app or program. You're not too old for connection. You are just out of practice. And that is something you can change. You have to be the one to push open the walls. The world will not do it for you. If you wait, it will quietly shrink around you. But when you choose to stretch it, just a little more each day, you will find that color, that energy, that joy slowly return. Your laughter will sound louder. Your days will feel more alive. Because your life is not over. It is simply waiting to be re-expanded. Truth 6. You are still the matriarch, even when no one says it out loud. There comes a quiet moment in a woman's life, often sometime after the age of 80, when the world around her begins to shift. The spotlight moves. Conversations happen without her input. Family decisions get made more quickly, and sometimes without her being asked. The phone calls slow down. Holidays change, and she begins to wonder, not out loud, but in her heart, am I still needed? Let me tell you something you may not hear enough. You are still the matriarch of your family. Whether anyone says it or not, that role has never left you. It may not come with the same attention it used to. It may not feel as loud or celebrated, but make no mistake, your presence still matters deeply. You are still the anchor, the living memory, the quiet wisdom that steadies the generations beneath you. In many families, matriarchs lead not with force, but with depth. They lead through the strength of their example, through the stories they carry, through the grace with which they have faced life's hardest seasons. Your children, your grandchildren, even your great-grandchildren, they may not say it out loud, but they are still watching, still learning, still listening to the way you live. And that is the heart of this truth. You're not just part of the past. You are a bridge to the future. Your life experience, your insight, and your presence offer something no one else in your family can offer. It is not about giving advice all the time or being the loudest voice in the room. Sometimes, being the matriarch means simply being there, being steady, being a source of wisdom and peace when others are rushing or unsure. So, how do you live into this role with intention? First, tell your stories. Do not wait for someone to ask. Share the joys and hardships you have lived through, the lessons no book could ever teach. Talk about your childhood, the early years of marriage, raising a family, losing loved ones, rebuilding your life. These stories are part of your family's identity, and if you don't share them, no one else can. Second, create small traditions. It could be a Sunday phone call, a handwritten birthday letter, or a favorite recipe passed down with your notes in the margin. These small acts of connections become sacred memories later on. Third, affirm the ones who come after you. Tell your granddaughter she is strong. Tell your grandson you see him. Tell your children you are proud of them. Your words matter more now than ever. Your voice carries weight. Use it with care and love. And lastly, do not wait for permission to lead from the heart. You have already earned the title. You do not need a ceremony, or a crown, or a thank you card. The matriarch is not always celebrated in the moment, but her presence echoes through every life she has touched. So, when you start to wonder, do I still matter to them? Remember this. Yes, you do. Deeply, quietly, eternally. Your love, your life, and your legacy are still shaping the people you raised and the people they are raising after them. You are still the matriarch, and your role is far from over. Truth 7. You still have something to give. The world still needs you. One of the quietest lies women hear after they turn 80 is this. You've already done your part. You've raised your children. You've worked, loved, sacrificed, and endured. You've given and given and given. So now the world says, rest, step back, fade into the background. You have nothing left to contribute. That is a lie. You may be older. You may move slower. Your days may look different than they once did. But hear me clearly. You are not done giving, and the world is not done needing you. You still carry something that no younger woman can fake, no machine can replicate, no book can teach. You carry perspective, patience, the ability to listen without judging, the gift of having lived long enough to see the patterns that others miss. That is wisdom, and it is rare. You do not have to start a big project. You do not have to save the world. Giving at 80 does not have to look like it did at 40. It might be a conversation with a teenager who feels lost, a handwritten letter to a friend who just lost her spouse, a small meal made with love for someone recovering from surgery. These things may feel ordinary to you, but they are not. They are sacred. One woman I knew began writing letters to women in prison after her 83rd birthday. Another started a phone chain for widows in her neighborhood. A third taught neighborhood kids how to bake from scratch, recipes her mother taught her in the 1940s. None of these women were trying to be extraordinary. They were simply refusing to believe that their contribution had expired. And in doing so, they brought life, not just to others, but back to themselves. Because here is the beautiful twist. When you give, you grow. Purpose is fuel for the human spirit. It does not matter how old you are. Your soul still craves usefulness. Not the kind that comes from work or productivity, but the kind that comes from meaning. And here is the truth. No one says enough. Giving can be small and quiet and still life-changing. Make someone laugh. Listen when someone needs to talk. Share your faith. Pass on a skill. Mentor someone younger. Be the friend who still remembers birthdays. Share your presence. That is what people remember most. Not the tasks you did, but the way you made them feel. You are not a burden. You are not past your prime. You're not waiting to be replaced. You're still a vital part of your family, your community, your country, and your world. And yes, some days will feel quiet. Some days you will wonder if anyone sees you. But even when you are not in the spotlight, your light still shines. You still have something to give. Someone still needs your encouragement, your story, your wisdom, your love. Do not let anyone, especially yourself, convince you otherwise. You are here for a reason, and while you are still here, keep giving. So here we are, 7 truths, some hard, some healing, all of them honest. If you are still here with me, it means something important. It means you are not someone who turns away from truth. It means you are still curious, still engaged, still looking for growth, even after 80. And that, in itself, is a beautiful kind of courage. Let's take a moment to remember what we've uncovered together. First, we learned that your immune system no longer sounds the alarm. It whispers. And you must listen closely. Second, we talked about how your strength tries to slip away quietly, and that muscle loss is not fate. It is a fight you can still win. Third, we faced the painful truth of invisibility, especially in medical spaces, and how essential it is to speak up and claim your right to be heard. Fourth, we challenged the myth that mental decline is inevitable. Your brain can stay sharp, but only if you invite it to keep learning. Fifth, we looked at how the world can shrink around you, but that you still have the power to stretch it open. Sixth, we reclaimed your role as the matriarch, the living memory, the quiet strength. Even when no one says it, you still hold the center. And finally, we ended with something deeply important. You still have something to give, even now. Especially now. If no one has told you this lately, let me be the one to say it clearly, kindly, and with all my heart. You are still needed. You're still powerful. You're still here for a reason. Aging does not mean fading. Not for you, not today. It means stepping into this season with the same grace, wisdom, and strength that got you here. So, what now? If this video spoke to you, please share it with another woman you care about, a sister, a friend, a neighbor, someone who needs to hear that she still matters. Leave a comment below and tell me, which truth spoke to you the most? I read every comment, and this community we're building, Wise Elders Insight, is for you, for your voice, for your story. And if you have not already, subscribe, because around here we do not ignore the hard things. We face them with dignity, with honesty, and together. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you leave today not with fear, but with fire. A quiet fire that says, I am still becoming. Until next time, stay strong, stay open, and never forget how much you still have to give.